All right, we'll start recording. Hello, Farouk.
What's up, Firas?
How are you?
Doing well, thank you. All right, we'll go ahead and get started. Um, Unfortunately, our council chair um, has resigned due to some personal reasons. At this point, we will um, accepting nominations for someone to serve as the council chair until a newly one is elected. Would anyone from the council like to nominate themselves to serve as council chair for this council? Just please put a hand up. With that being said, I also like to nominate myself to serve as the council chair for this council. Nope. All right, I guess no one would like to nominate themselves. So I will proceed. All in favor for Farouk to serve as the council chair of this council.
Point of inquiry.
Yep.
Have we confirmed that the chair of the CUSA Council can be an executive?
Yes, on the grounds that I am relieved of my duties as the vice president internal for this council.
All right, thank you.
No worries. Thank you for asking. All right, if you're new here, please, all you have to do to vote is just using the raise of hand function. All right, so we got the appropriate votes. Any opposed? All right, any abstains? All right. And we shall begin. First and foremost, CUSA acknowledges the ancestral and traditional territory of the Algonquin nations, whose territory we stand on today. To begin, any announcements or correspondence? All right, I see none. Can we get someone to approve of the agenda? Thank you, Emma. Can we get someone to second that? Jordan, thank you.
Point of inquiry.
Yep.
I just saw that the audit summary wasn't on the agenda for today.
So the audit summary will be presented during CUSA.
Oh right, no, never mind. You're right.
No problem.
Copy.
Thank you. Approval of past minutes. Can I get someone to approve of that? Thank you, Noor. Someone a second. Thank you, Faras. And we'll move on to the president's report.
Hi, everyone. It's nice to be back and see you all again. I hope you had, a nice break since we haven't seen each other since. Thank you for your patience with our last council meeting having to be postponed. And thank you for being here. I know a lot of you are running, it's busy times, but excited to update you on what we've been up to. Obviously, CUSA, things never stop. And we have some exciting things to share tonight. So obviously we launched our midterm report at the beginning of the month. You can go check it out. Definitely trying to make it as digestible and as consumable as possible. So our team made a short video summarizing it, but you can also check out the full report in the link in our bio. And we are very excited to have accomplished 54 goals this year already, 81% of our goals to date. So obviously a lot of these have had to be changed and our plans have evolved throughout the year multiple times, but it's still really nice to see things come together And then, of course, our priority remains COVID support. And so we have given out over $56,000 in funding to students through the Hardship Fund, and those efforts continue. We also have our COVID support group tomorrow. That is not correct. I had written that for our last council meeting, but we'll have one next month. And of course, you can always get personalized support or assistance through our email, support@cusaonline.ca. You should get a rapid response directing you to one of our services, depending on what you're looking for. Finally, keep promoting and sharing Empower Me. It has been expanded to serve multiple international countries and locations where international students currently are. So always a great resource for students, especially in the context of Let's Talk today. Some meetings with our administration. Also very excited to launch the Climate Action Fund and the Indigenous Initiatives Fund. You can find out more about that on our website, but the goal here is really to support students' initiatives, to provide funding for your own goals, projects, and anything related to education or advocacy beyond the other funding that CUSA offers through SIF and clubs and etc. So Tina and I have began planning for our Indigenous Awareness, Indigenous Celebration Month. Stay tuned for that. It's the first ever at CUSA. We have some really cool partners already lined up within the community. So I'm really excited for you to see that. And it'll be meshing well with our traditional Sustainability Month, which happens in March. And Tina will have more updates for that, but that's coming. And for me, divestment remains a priority for the coming months. So had some meetings with Climate Action Carleton and with my team at CUSA, the climate officers, and we are really looking to up the pressure for this next semester. The thinking is that over the last semester, we really kind of laid all the groundwork, had all the polite meetings. Everyone knows what's going on. Now it's just upping the sense of urgency. So that's really what we're looking to do. Got some great initiatives planned, so excited to get you folks involved with that as well. And the month ahead, you can see some of my goals here, continuing next steps for divestment, helping Tina with some of our campaigns, working with some of our staff on performance reviews, publishing the club sustainability guide, which I've actually been working with the climate officers for, and we'll also be launching the new CUSA website in the coming term. As always, still checking my emails, always available to chat, reach out. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathleen. Moving on to the vice president reports. Jacob Howell.
What is up? Sorry about that. Should have done that ahead of time. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back from a little break in the holidays. I don't know where everyone's at, but there's definitely a lot of snow in Ottawa for those of you that aren't here. So maybe you consider yourself lucky, maybe not, but that's all right. Farouk, if you want to scroll down a bit, and we can get going. Cool. So past month, so CUSA financial statement presentation. So we'll be going over the audit summary from the financials last year and some very good points in there that I'm actually excited to share with you guys about. So that's super dope. Student care legal service. It's been on this for a little bit, but I got some data for you guys as well. I'll touch a little bit more on that in ongoing projects, but we did conclude the sample survey. And it also did yield very positive results as well. So I was super thrilled about that. Health and dental quick review. So some quick pro quo facts from a meeting I had with student care within the last week. So annually, CUSA has over $2 million in claims, which is very good. It's a high usage in their eyes. There's been a 28% increase in prescription drugs usage within the last year. Over $170,000 claimed in women's reproductive health benefits and birth control, and over $358,000 claimed towards mental health supports. So super good to see that those numbers are high, because that means our plan is being utilized. So very good data to see. Scrolling down to some ongoing projects. So we have, again, the legal plan, as I mentioned. So out of the sample survey, there's an over 80% in favor of kind of like having a referendum for the service. So I'm gonna go back with the team, discuss kind of like some next steps. Maybe we do some more outreach, but this was coordinated by student care. Cost CUSA $0 to run that survey and get students' feedback. and they have experience doing this like all over kind of like Ontario at least. I know Waterloo implemented the service a couple years ago, and I believe there's another university, one or two, that just passed like a referendum with an 80% pass rate. So super interested in those statistics and to see if there's that same interest here at Carleton. For the health and dental plan, so again, we're looking to do a survey to give student input and recommendations for plan adjustments in the coming year. So we want to seek where students see value in our plan, right? Those high usage moments. Also where some students see more value is needed, or maybe where less is, right? So it's your health and dental plan. So I believe you should have a say in that. So we'll be doing that. I do have student care as well, preparing some rates for what increased mental health coverage should look like if that was the only thing that was increased, because I have heard from a few students that reached out that that's a big priority. So I already have them getting some numbers on that. The student space consultation. So kind of left this one off for a couple months, but we're going to restart in February, and quite literally just ask students kind of like, what do they think is missing from our campus, right? You know, while we're kind of like shut down for a little bit, hopefully opening up next year. Great space to kind of like make those additions that students feel that we're really missing. So whether it's rooms, space, services, we're going to cover everything, and we're going to ask, you know, what students are really looking for from Carleton, and we're going to try and do it. Student entrepreneurship fund. So I've been working with Hatch to not only create a fund, but they actually brought some additions to the table to help with some long-term funding, as well as linking professional kind of like internship opportunities through this kind of like avenue with the assistance of Sprott. And this is going to be $10,000. That is going to go directly towards student entrepreneurs that are, you know, those students trying to make their dreams come true, you know, make the world a better place. And Carleton students born and bred, so let's support them. Sorry if I'm talking very fast. I just get into it. Awesome. So for the month ahead, student entrepreneurship fund. So again, I'm going to meet up with the Hatch directors and probably some other partners, and create kind of like the contributors of the framework for that implementation. We are looking again for like exterior partners to contribute to this fund. So it's a more kind of like permanent, but also sustainable, even if like CUSA for some reason couldn't contribute years down the road, we'll have other sources for that. The student space consultation and the health and dental, we're going to be working with communications on this, create some kind of like outreach, figure out kind of a plan to, again, best engage students. Obviously virtually that's going to be a little bit tough, but up for the challenge. And as well as under health and dental, going to be reviewing estimates from student care to gauge the feasibility of mental health coverage. I do know, for example, just like when it comes to like insurance, like policies like that, super interesting process. So looking forward to seeing what they come back with. And yeah, any questions, comments, concerns, you know where I'm at, and I'm always happy to chat. Thank you.
Thank you, Jacob. Moving on to the vice president internal report. Mine's always quite simple and short. I feel like I don't have to really reiterate what the previous two said before me or what the next three will say. But yeah, in the past month, and I guess this is like early stages of December, just CODO transitions, connected them to the appropriate people who they're going to need. Clubs funding, that's already been done and sent out. SIF funding, we had a deadline last month and we have one coming up. So just allocating the money in that way. We are going to be promoting it more, that and also the capstone fund. So council, I will be sharing a couple graphics with you if you don't mind just spreading the word of it. Club and Societies Awards, we are beginning this in a week and a bit. We're really looking to just acknowledge all the clubs and all the execs that put in the effort and time. I guess at this moment, if you have any great ideas for what an award can be for some clubs, please shoot me a message and we can implement that. We're always looking for new ideas and just ways just to show our appreciation for all the clubs execs and all the hard work they put in. Council chair job posting recommendations. The job posting is live. We have a graphic I'll be sharing with you later on. If you can please just spread the word, post on your stories, let your friends know. If anyone is interested in applying, I will let you know that if you do apply, you would be required to drop the position that you're holding within our council. And CUSA elections. Very, very happy of how many the turnout this year, especially for the councillor positions. Last year we had a low. This year, I think around 51 councillors running for respective positions. So just really overall excited about that and nice to see. Next month, um, again, Clubs Awards, it's when we're going to be completing those. Again, SIP deadline, and then a FIFA slash online game tournaments. This in partnership with Ozzy, our Vice President Student Life, and just numerous clubs on campus. Just giving students just a wide variety of different events they can attend. I know there's a lot of people who like to game online, like myself. So just hosting those types of events. If you do have any questions, any concerns, anything you need help with, please do reach out to me on my email or on Instagram. Thank you. Moving on to the Vice President Student Issues Report.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. Okay, let's get started. So past month, it's been quite eventful, but we went in a very, very positive way. So for those of you who participated, we wrapped up 12 days of giveaways / study snacks, and really proud of it, simply because we allocated about $500 a day, not in total, but a day, towards students for various reasons. So that's up to about $6,000. And actually not included in that 6,000 is the fact that we also give away $1,000 in tuition. So about $7,000 in total. Let's Talk Day, which is today, for those of you who've been following my personal Instagram, very personal day to me, simply because of certain events. Because how we led up to today, I basically released a Pop the Stigma video, centered around, and this is a trigger warning, centered around suicide prevention. So that video is more about the tips, tricks, signs, and symptoms that you should see if you or someone else is suffering with these types of conditions. It's a 6-minute video. It's a crash course, really quick watch. And then today I launched another video. It's the suicide prevention episode part 2, but this time it was an interview between Asha Ibrahim. Shout out to her so much. She was actually the partner of our friend who passed away due to mental health reasons a couple months ago. So it's a 15-minute episode, longer than usual, but all the facts there are, and all the things there are really true to heart. First time, I got a lot of good feedback for it already. First time that, some real things are being actually addressed, especially when it comes to suicide. So watch it if you have the heart to. If not, part 1 is there for you. SAD giveaway. So it's actually for the seasonal affective disorder giveaway. So basically late November, early December, I did a giveaway based on the effects of seasonal affective disorder, sometimes known as seasonal depression. I feel like I mentioned this, but I don't know if I said it last semester. And it was really, really successful. I think it's cute. I would like to say it's CUSA's most successful giveaway. To be honest, we had over like 1,000 comments, and we had like 7 prize bundles, which was really, really cool. Alongside that, we obviously promoted awareness for seasonal depression, executed the giveaway notable items such as sad lights, blue light glasses, which really help for Zoom fatigue. You should get those, cheap on Amazon. Diffuser and gift cards to prominent elevated smells. And obviously launched the Pop the Stigma video for that as well. Flu shot initiatives, I feel like I mentioned this already, but really underway. Thank you to those who had some suggestions on that. The list is still there, and apparent flu shot season, quote unquote, ends in April. So like you still have time to get your flu shots. And then moving on, worked with local community organizations regarding the hashtag Valued7 in launching a condemnation report. I don't know why my sentence is not complete. Condemnation report towards Ottawa police. If you don't know about it, I'm not gonna kind of like drown the tone of today's council, but I would really encourage you to go out and see it. It's a form of racial discrimination and racial profiling here in Ottawa. Yes, racism does happen in Ottawa, I know. So go check it out if you can. And this one's a really, really cool one for me. Expanded academic accommodations for mental health. So basically had a couple meetings with the provost and other high university officials, and saying that when it comes to mental health initiatives, there is going to be an expansion and an additional like prompts and topics to be said for that, especially in the coming semesters. Not necessarily implemented in this semester, but it's really nice to see about that. It includes sick notes that actually could include mental health conditions and reasonings instead of just physical. Instead of just physical sick notes for doctors who may not care, and plus you have to pay for them. So really, really cool about that. Okay, breather. Now on to ongoing projects. Got Justice. Love this. Basically, it's a social justice campaign. Obviously, CUSA, especially the VPSI, is very student issues oriented. It's kind of in my role, but this one is very, very dear to me because it's a social justice campaign centered around anti-racism and anti-oppression. One of the many initiatives I have taken in order to condemn anti-racism, not only on campus, but to all students in the greater Ottawa area. One of, again, many initiatives that were taken. You could check out more in the midterm report that, I and CUSA has done. So really excited about that. It's launching in February. Another one I'm really excited about is the Indigenous Celebration Month. I'm really happy about this because it's an ode to our beautiful Indigenous communities. Kathleen is helping me a lot with this as well, especially with her climate action team that's obviously been killing it these past couple of months. And the fact that it coincides with sustainability and climate action as well, which they should always intersect, is great. As you can see, I'm very passionate about it because very excited about that. We have elders coming in, we have infographics, awareness, just an ode to, again, our beautiful and vibrant Indigenous communities on Turtle Island. And then furthermore, we have flag consultations, just going off and speaking with various student groups on what flags that should be included in the atrium is literally been an ongoing conversation for since I was in first year, maybe even before that. So glad to take the initiatives for this. Obviously, council and anyone here, if you have any suggestions on what flags should be included, there is a graphic that's going to be going out, which is going to be a public call out to all. And obviously, it will have a list of the flags that are already there. So, we're not doing too much with that. So shoot me a message. Month ahead, as I said, Got Justice is coming up. Really excited about that. Black History Month. Wow, sorry, certain things are not supposed to be there. Black History Month is next month. CUSA has so much programming. Not obviously for me, I'm doing my thing, but shout out to Rise, they've been working hard on their programming coming up, and also the Women's Center as well. Really, really check out their events that are coming up for that. And obviously, as I said, continuing flag consultations. So if you have any questions, comments, insights, or would like to contact me by email or Instagram, it's at Tinuvelli. It's been a pleasure. Sorry, it's been a pleasure. In solidarity, Tinu. Thanks, y'all. I'm done.
Thanks, Tino. We'll move on to Vice President Community Engagement.
Hi, everyone. I hope you all had a wonderful holiday break and that the first few weeks of your semester have gone well so far. So over this past month, last month, finals, exams, January, we also attended, or it's still January, but student government lunch. And last month, we also did support locally in student-owned shopping lists. We got really good engagement on that, and I hope that some people were able to get a couple of things and support local businesses. Brunch with the execs also held in December. Really nice, as well as more of a holiday chat with some people. It's great. And then regular meetings with our services manager, because we've had some inquiries from outside organizations that want to partner with us. Ongoing projects, I actually just completed Brand Ambassador winter interviews, so we've onboarded a few more students, and that has gone really well so far. International Food Month will be taking place throughout February. I also filmed a tutorial of one of my favorite dishes, so take a peek at that when it comes out. Goal setting workshop with the Women's Center, that happened last week. It went really well. Definitely tried to not really emphasize on the fact that you have to get things done, because we're in a pandemic, so there's really no pressure, but more about like strategy for people that do want to make start planning goals. Ozzy and I will be presenting at SOAR this weekend, so if you're there, definitely check it out. CUSA Marketplace also coming out soon, and I don't know why I said International Food Month twice, but it'll be a packed month. We're actually also going to be having a Lunar New Year event and programming around that. So for my Asian folks out there, keep an eye out for that. And again, months ahead, new events. Farouk and I, we're collabing finally. Really excited for that. And Street Team Winter Kickoff is coming up soon. So yeah, that's all from me. If you have any questions, feel free to email me or don't call me, please. Shoot me a message on Instagram. Thanks.
Hey, I guess that's me. Hope everybody's doing good, and hope everyone's January start off on a good note. Second semester start off on a good note. It's VP Fund report time. Past month, COVID-19 support group. We kept, we're keeping it there. A student actually said in one of the COVID support groups, Morgan probably say it better than I do, that this is her only connection to campus. So that's something that hit me hard, and I want to continue doing efforts like this with my team. So big shout out to Tina and Morgan for being very, very big influential people in this whole COVID support group work, and especially the Wellness Center as well. Again, it's just for students to chat, come in, talk about their lives, and it just allows for open dialogue to like relax, enjoy those good moments. First whole campus Frost Week, something I'm extremely proud of. We always see Frost or Frost Week as exclusive to first years, but a lot of people don't get to experience those sort of things, right? Again, after their first experience. So we said, let's hold our first annual Frost Week for everybody. Hopefully future VPSL candidates can follow this. We'll see what happens. And it was open to all students. It doesn't matter if you're first year, fifth year, it really doesn't matter. I originally came with this platform to really do just one day, whole campus Frost Day. But I realized, we want to give more to students, especially in this year. So we worked hard to make it a whole Frost Week. So during my whole break, month of December, didn't take that much time off, continued working, getting stuff done. My team helped me so much with it. So big shout out to them. Big shout out to Kathleen for grinding with me during the break. Yeah, we had such fun events. We had Clubs Appreciation Day. We had a day focused on service centers, a TikTok talent show we collaborated with Raw. I don't know much about TikTok, so Jane took care of that. Lastly, we had the wildly popular Sophia Franklin come in. It was actually the most attended event at Carleton in this virtual year so far. That was fun. And yeah, it was just a little change, like I worked all summer to make the first online Frost Week happen. So I tried my best to make it bigger and better, and it was highly attended and enjoyable. We got a lot of positive feedback. So if you have any feedback to anyone who went there, please reach out to me. Let me know what I can do better, what I could change for the rest of the semester, because we still got a full semester to go, and I still want to keep this momentum up. Farouk, you can go down. Yeah, 12 days giveaway and study snacks. Collaborated with the amazing Tino Akinwande on this. This was one of my favorite things to do on the Frost Week, obviously. We gave out 400 plus Uber Eats vouchers, so about $6,000 worth of vouchers for students to help assist students in these times, especially exam week, because we know people don't focus a lot on their wellness during exam week, because they have to stay focused, they want to focus on their grades. So we did this in a fun way. So we promoted wellness because we know there's different types of wellness, because we know these times are stressful, and we especially wanted to make sure that exam season doesn't put you down a bit, right? Big shout out to Tino. She spearheaded it. Without her, this would not be possible. Completed a midterm report. We finished 81% of our goals and promises with one full semester to go. That leaves me pretty happy to say I think we're going to finish all 100, like all 100% of the goals. I personally have one platform point left, so I'm going to work to get that done. Ongoing, we're going to continue our bi-weekly Wellness Wednesdays. This would include obviously the COVID support group, our yoga, and many more great activities that we plan to continue as it picked up so much traction. Future program collaborations for winter semester. We're looking to see how we can obviously change engagement for the winter semester and come up with new events that students will love. We're reaching out to different organizations to see what they can do and what we can do together to make these amazing collaborations happen. And again, continue this momentum that we brought forward. So we can go down. Months ahead, I'm basically finishing the online programming for winter semester, the whole calendar this month. So again, it's maintaining that little change of aspects of support and advocacy that we've done, because that's what we sort of focused on and we focused on a support for students this semester rather than a whole focus on, let's say, a whole little fun event right there. We want to make it fun, but we also want to make it a support-based event at the same time. So, get a little best of both worlds. We want to make sure these events students enjoy. We're focusing more on quality, not quantity this semester. So we're trying to make more precise events rather than a complete, just fill up people's calendars. And again, our focus is to put clubs in this. Morgan touched on this. We did SOAR conference. I'm happy to say that CUSA sponsored the SOAR conference to help bring in Martin Luther King this summer, Martin Luther King III this summer. So we helped collab with them and sponsor them for this summer to get that done, because we personally felt like that is an amazing person we wanted to get in, and we want students to have the opportunity to do that. We gave away free tickets on our Instagram, so students may be able to attend who don't have the financial means for it necessarily. And if you guys do want to attend, please reach out. We might have some more free tickets left, so please reach out. Let's see what we can do together. And lastly, again, me and Morgan are presenting together this conference. So if you want to know the details and if you're going, please reach out. It's going to be a great time. If you have any questions, you can reach out to my email, vpsl@cusaonline.ca, my Instagram, Osman Elmi. That phone line, definitely not, because I'm at home. Have a great time.
Thank you, Osman. We'll move on to Raw report. Sash, the floor is all yours.
Hey. Hi, everyone. Can you guys hear me okay? Awesome. Okay. Well, yeah. Hi, counselors. Hope everyone is staying healthy and adjusting well to the new school semester. Jay is usually here, but I'm stepping in for Jay, who's sorry he couldn't make it tonight. And just to start off, this semester, our Political Action and Sustainability Committee has been focusing on ways we can increase sustainability on campus. As you may or may not know, the CAF has switched to takeout dining this year. And there's been a large increase in food and paper plastic waste. So our committee is really focused on trying to find ways that we can reduce this while still being cost effective. So we're looking at things like educational posters and proper bins to help filter out some of the waste that we're producing, and also a dedicated plastic bag recycling program. So we're currently talking to housing and trying to get some plans set up there. And so regarding events, CU at Home, this past week we collaborated with CUSA for Frost Week at CU at Home. This was a TikTok challenge where students could post any form of creative content. Our winner ended up being a dancer named Newman Charles, and the prizes were a Beats pill and a TikTok ring light. Jay wants me to emphasize that he's a huge fan of TikTok, and this was a smashing hit. Everyone loved it, so he definitely wants to do something like this again. For the budget review with Laura, this past week, we actually met with Laura Story, who's the Director of Housing and Residence Life. She presented us with the budget for the 2020 and 2021 operating budget for residents. And we're happy to report that with the initiative from the team last year, we've actually completed the construction of the Glengarry windows. So now the windows actually open in Glengarry. So many of the new students there who are stuck inside this year can now open their windows and get some fresh air. So we're really happy to say that that's finally been taken care of. Regarding the upcoming raw elections, our electoral board has been voted in. We have one CEO and 2 DEOs. They will be dropping the writ in our February council meeting, so stay tuned for that. And so for the Parliament Hill program, if you don't know what it is, we match up a lot of students with MPs around the country as a volunteer position, helping students to gain experience and some real world job experience that they can use later on to get proper jobs. This was also pretty tough this year. A lot of MPs were already tied up. Many of them said that they couldn't even fully utilize their current office staff. So our engagement wasn't as high as we normally had, but we were still able to have quite a few MPs still show their interest, and we had some successful candidates actually get onboarded. So we're happy to report that that program still ended up kicking off and was completed. And regarding our Residents Rise Up campaign, which is our mental wellness campaign, it's happening this week. If you've seen it, I hope you have. We've been pushing all of our social media with the content. We're doing a lot of collaborations with on-campus partners, talking about well-being and mental wellness, talking about resources, how food affects your health. And we also helped promote the Let's Talk event that we did with Carleton Wellness, if you were able to tune into that. And this, we have some great prizes lined up for that as well. Students can answer questions regarding the mental wellness. We're really trying to promote the discussion. So that's been a real success this week, and we're going to be ending it on Friday. So if you do see any of that content, please engage. We love to hear back. And that wraps it up for Raw. We have a lot more stuff in the pipeline. Some events coming up Friday. We also have our virtual speed mingling happening again. And then I know Jenna has some awesome events, as a fashion show also that she's kind of teasing, but we're kind of in the works on that. But that's it for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Sash. Thank you, Rob, for all the work that you guys do. GSA, do you have a GSA report tonight? All right, I guess we'll move on to Kashi. Is there a Kashi report for tonight?
Yes, there is. Hey, everyone. Hope you're having a good winter semester so far. Had a good break, extended break. I will be honest, the 5 days was great, but it also hit more like a truck after when I realized the extended break, how hard it hit, but it was good. We had our council last week. Went really well. We actually allocated an extra $4,800 to the academic relief bursary. It was such a huge success that we originally didn't have enough money budgeted. So now we've added that $4,800. We're going to help as many Ravens as possible. We also are supporting the Engineering Society and the letter that they released last week to the university talking about class accessibility and workload that engineering students have been getting. And we're happy to help them out because a lot of those issues aren't even just unique to engineering students. And we're happy to help them get that done. So we're going to be meeting with the university over the next month to hopefully get some progress on that. We also released our own letter about reform, some compassionate reforms to scholarship retention this year. Thank you to all the clubs, academic clubs and societies that supported us on that. We got an answer from the university actually today. Suzanne Blanchard's office emailed me. So we're going to be meeting in the next week or two to discuss if this is a viable option. So I'm hoping that they like the idea and we can get it done. We also had our levy referendum proposal approved by the provost's office. So we're going to be looking to get that done. There'll be more details to come about how much money we're going to be trying to get on a per academic term. That's all to come over the next month. And we have to have the referendum before March 15th. So lots of details to come on that. Our equity committee had its first meeting this month. They discussed issues ranging from our internal policies, how we can make them more equitable, how we can hold ourselves to account on these issues, and everything. We also discussed how we can work with the Paul Menton Center to increase class accessibility and other issues like that. Finally, our executive elections are going to be coming up most likely at the end of March. You guys have seen the impact CAST can have on campus, so I encourage you, if you want to get more involved, check out the roles that will be available. And if you want, please hit me up. I'd be happy to talk to you about what a role in CAST looks like. But that's it from us. Have a great month, guys.
Thank you, Matt, and thank you, Kashji. Is there a Senate report? Is there a Senate report for tonight? Guess not. Moving on. Is there a Board of Governors report?
There is.
The floor is all yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Before I go into my report, I'd like to ask the chair if I can present also 3 items for information.
Go ahead. Sorry.
All right. So the items.
If you don't mind, can we please hold on to that until we get to the items for information? Right
Sure.
after we finish the committee reports. Thank you.
Great. So as you all may have been aware, the undergraduate governor elections took place this past week, and we have 2 successors, Anastasia and Holden. Congratulations to them. I'm sure I join with all of the council members in congratulating them. My term ends this summer, which their term is being confirmed by the board shortly. We should hear back from the executive committee on their confirmation process, which will go to a vote either in the March meeting or the June meeting. We had the 114th meeting of the University Advancement and University Relations Committee on January 25th, 2021, where we discussed several important projects. The first of which was the issue of donor relations. We are considering, hiring people to come in and help us get those big dollar donors to start, endowments, get, the philanthropic areas of our university up and running. However, on behalf of students, I raised the following points that were also echoed by the president himself. First of all, we need to level the influence that students have and alumni have with that of big donors. We want to avoid becoming the Harvards and the Princetons and the Georgetowns where you can pay for play here. That's not what we want to accomplish. So I'm moving in the next committee meeting to ensure that we have some accountability and oversight on that matter. We also discussed the Carleton rebrand, which of course, I'm sure Matt, you remembered, they took a lot of student leaders in and listened to our opinions on that. So we did have a presentation on that. The slides from that will be made public. I'm sure there will be an announcement from the president in the following few days. We had several discussions about a motion that I intend to bring at the next committee meeting that will go to my final board meeting before I leave office, which is to classify the N-word as a fireable offense. The president, again, refused to answer two of the questions during committee. So I then spoke with the chair, and also following our conversations with the chair on making sure that we get a motion or we get something past that so we can hold professors, staff members, or any member of the university committee or community who uses that word. I've also made clear that the SRRP, I will seek to reform that before the end of my term, mostly through this committee of the same. We will be pursuing simple causes over the next few months as a committee, particularly to ensure that we strengthen our human rights policy so that public urination and graffiti isn't treated, to the same level as, blatant racism and violence, right? That there should be more than mediation for that. So that is also a matter of which I brought to the committee and will continue to bring with several motions. To sum that up, the board will be revising in the upcoming, March meeting, the divestment policy of which, is coordinating with Kathleen and a few other student leaders on amending, which directly impacts some of the efforts that we're both working on the issue of divestment. This investment policy covers about $106 million, 40 million of which can be invested without, any environmental protections into our non-endowed funds. So that's something that we need to look at, and I look forward to working with Kathleen on that as well. That is my report. Again, congratulations to Anastasia and Holden for being elected my successors. Have a great rest of your meeting.
Thank you, Nathaniel BOG, and congratulations to both of them. Moving on, any constituency report? I see none. Any committee reports? Committee reports. All right, I see none. Any items for information?
Yes, I do.
Floor is yours.
Great. So my first item for information is a follow-up on a letter that a few CUSA counselors and I released to the Office of the Ombudsman, asking for some financial information back from FundKey so we can really get to the bottom in an official capacity as undergraduate governor on the board, making sure that we're passing budgets and resolutions with regard to fee collection in a way that, really has numbers to show us the way there. So in conjunction to that, we did receive a response from the Office of the Ombudsman. I'm currently in the process of compiling additional information as requested to get back to her in conjunction with some CUSA counselors. Right now, it looks as though we're getting the numbers back from that individual contractor that appear to suggest that there was about a $500,000 dispersal before the contracted period, and during the contracted period, that's what we're getting to the bottom of. But it seems as though there is more than a return on investment there, but I'll leave that to the determination of the Ombudsman to suggest further. The second item for information is on the topic of mental health and Bell Let's Talk. I released a statement in conjunction with my counterparts who have been working with across Ontario on the boards of governors of those organizations, the University of Ottawa, the University of Queen's University, University of Toronto, Western University, all of these great institutions, just outlining some of the actions that we took over the past few months in our given capacities, including calling for racial justice through racialized specific counselors here at Carleton and all of our different universities, taking action to call for a $50 million government investment in university level mental health support, The third item for information is a letter I sent again with my counterparts on the board of governors of multiple universities across Ontario to the Premier of Ontario and the Ministry of Colleges and Universities, calling for a consistent public health effort on student vaccinations. We went into detail. Of course, I mean, we can spend a lot of time going through the detail, but you could look at that statement. It's available on social media, or you can email me for a copy of the full negotiations there. But essentially, we're asking for a full public health plan, similarly to what we're seeing on an elementary school and secondary school level here in Ontario, to ensure that we have vaccinations. Now, there isn't a question about vaccinating students at the moment. What we're hearing back from the government partners and from different levels of orders of government is that there should not be an issue with that. The issue here is ensuring that we create the separate category that is for teachers, right? So for example, if you're a high school teacher, they're being prioritized along with frontline workers. And we want to ensure that professors, lecturers, the staff members, down to the janitors who clean our halls and the sanitation workers and all the unionized members also have that. So that's what we're advocating for with my coalition on that front. And that concludes my items for information. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you again. Question period. Do we have any questions? I see one. Jacob Howell.
Not so much question. I was just wondering if I could like add a little something on what Nathaniel said that I might think you might find interesting. I don't know if that's like out of pocket or not.
I'll allow it.
I don't know if you were aware, Nathaniel, but after talking with as well like the health and dental providers, they talked a little bit about vaccinations, and apparently the province is at 100,000 vaccinations per week, which is quite under target for them, because if you do like 35 million people in Canada, like it's a long ways away, right? And obviously, like students and kind of like our atmosphere is quite low on that list. So just a little bit of like information for kind of like when you go and kind of like do that stuff. But super glad to hear you're kind of like looking into that, because I think it's super dope for sure.
Thank you.
Right, Mr. Chair, could I just follow up very quickly?
Yeah.
I'm glad you're having those conversations, Jacob. From what we're hearing as well is that Ontario is well under target. And so the letter and the crafting and the negotiations that are going on with my counterparts and I and the government is, really honing in on the long-term plans of public health orders. So we've seen effectively on different levels of education in Ontario specifically, this would apply in Carleton circumstances to domestic students or students living in Ottawa, a return to secondary school and elementary school pretty much in a normal circumstance with enhanced public health protocols. So that's the first step, but definitely going into the long term, we're looking at requesting those vaccinations along this the schedule track that the Ontario government is on. However, after frontline workers and after the first tier there, I'm hearing that the second tier does not include universities. And so that's what we're targeting here, but I definitely understand that information that you provide and that you're having those ongoing conversations.
Thank you both. Any other questions?
I have a few questions.
Right, you're allowed 2 questions.
Great. So to the Vice President Finance, Jacob, is there a bidding process on the way that we do healthcare insurance as a student union? Meaning, is there competition? Are we getting, different offers from different companies to see, who wants the contract, who will give us a better deal in terms of pricing and all the rest, or are we really dealing with a fixed contract here?
For sure. Yeah, happy to provide some like clarification on that. So as of right now, the way we work with student care, we do have kind of like that partnership agreement. To my knowledge, we're free to leave at kind of like any time if we choose. I know we used to be with, I believe it's Green Shield, and then we're with Desjardins now. And our plan was actually more expensive and we had less benefits prior to that. When moving to student care, we actually have one of the lowest, I believe it's like the second lowest, if I'm not mistaken, health and dental plan. But we also, for that price, get some of the most benefits compared to any other university. And a lot of those factors come down to like enrollment and then like how many people use the plan, which parts of the plan. So I know as well when I talk about like increasing mental health coverage, for example, there's one university that they just decided one year they wanted to kind of like increase a lot of mental health coverage, which is super dope, like a good idea. But their student union got sent into like a deficit over like $100,000 for a couple years, right? So there's definitely like a process that comes with that aspect. But in terms, I guess, to go back to your question about kind of like a bidding process, there's always that opportunity out there for sure. Something definitely like could be worth looking into 100%, based off kind of like the data we've seen from other student care schools and the data we had from when we were with Green Shield. It looks like we have a very comfortable and affordable plan for students, and they do get over, like, you can utilize up to $10,000 worth of benefits through your health plan if you have like that full utilization. So always open though, for sure, right? Like, I mean, never hurts to shop around in my opinion. So
For sure. And if I can take my follow-up to that.
Yep.
My follow-up is, in reviewing many of the contracts that the university enters, in my time as undergraduate governor, I've seen a shift in the amount that we pay for and the services that we're getting. For example, the 10% meal plan increase in 2019 not corresponding with a contracted increase. So I was wondering, what, if any, is the increases that we'll see over the next few years to this current contract? And is there a plan moving forward, or are we exploring options moving forward to see out, or to bid out this contract to get some competition going in there and to get the best price for students?
yeah, I mean, like, I'll be honest, wasn't like at the top of my radar, but not saying it can't be, right? Again, like, super flexible, like we still do have like 4 months left, and that's 4 months of work to do, right? So even kind of like reaching out and reviewing those contracts, and even these other companies, right, we can talk to about kind of like those rates they offer. A good additional part about student care is like Empower Me. They help us with, well, they provide that service through us. So but that also doesn't mean that if we left student care, we couldn't get Empower Me either, right? So very flexible in that sense as well. So to answer your question, just like, yeah, like, always time to kind of like shop around. And I think, like, if you've kind of like done any research yourself, or if you have like a few like providers you have in mind, your experience on the board, my line's always open to hear that kind of feedback. But I also wouldn't mind kind of, doing some research myself, so I can do that. Long day, Nick?
Yeah, classes all day.
Sorry, Nathaniel, you said you had a second question?
Yes. My second question is for the president. The upcoming collective agreements with your unions are coming up for expiry in 2022. So I understand that you must be going through a collective, or at least the initial talks for renewing that agreement. I'm working on a governor's level to look into equal pay. And specifically the way that we negotiate with our unions on a board level, trying to get some oversight there and making sure that we're instilling articles of equal pay there. It's an ongoing point of negotiation, as our contracts, I think, run out in 2023, so we have a bit more leeway there. But I was wondering if you're having those conversations around equal pay with your union representatives on that level.
Thank you for that question. Are you referring to QP 3011?
Yes.
Okay, so the CUSA full-time staff. Yeah, we have ongoing conversations with our union collective agreement, and we have a pretty robust compensation system right now and charting for our staff, and they're quite satisfied. I haven't looked into specifically how that works for equal pay, but I can look into that and get back to you. I don't know if any of the executives have anything else they want to add.
Jacob?
Yeah, I can chat a little bit about the collective bargaining agreement as well. So good eye for sure, right? Like, coming up soon for renewal. And as Kathleen kind of mentioned, we've had this, I believe the last time it was renewed was 2016, if I'm not mistaken. 2017. But yeah, in regards to like equal pay, like 100%. Like, I think in terms of like speaking for like my team and anyone, like, even now, that is a move we would look to change like immediately if we saw something like that happening, right? I think like putting like equal pay and kind of like making sure that our staff at CUSA are happy is honestly kind of like one of my biggest priorities, and the union as well, right? Working with our rep Margaret there. Yeah, we really try to honestly just make sure that our staff are kind of like happy, well taken care of. And even then, right, there are sometimes requests outside of collective agreements that employees can make to the employers. And while employers aren't obligated to, we like to do that for our staff because, again, right, like at CUSA, we just and maybe Musab could even comment a little bit on the culture, but we're all about taking care of each other, right? It's about making sure just everyone feels heard, and more importantly, that they have a safe place to do their job. So in regards to pay, benefits, collective agreements, like that is something we come to the table with, and we're happy to discuss with either a staff at an individual level or with the union reps, because it's open door policy for us.
Daniel, did you have a follow-up?
Fantastic. Yes. I just wanted to quickly test the willingness of you both to write some sort of letter or to work with me on a governor's level to share that. On a student union level, I was expecting the response from both of you as I got. Have a pretty robust system of looking into these things, and that if staff aren't paying, are not being paid the same, that's obviously an issue that you would look to correct immediately, whereas that is obviously not what we're seeing on a governor's level. So would you two be willing to, put together something on this matter?
I would be happy to look into it and have a conversation with you about it, for sure.
Yeah, likewise, again, as I said, right, like if someone's not getting paid like the proper amount for their work, like I think that's like not only just like insulting in general, but I won't go on a tangent. Sorry. The answer is yes. Yes, I'd love to love to have like those conversations and with you and work on that 100%.
Sweet, thank you. Any other questions? All right, I see none. Moving on to other business. And we have none. We completed all in December, which is amazing. So we'll move on to adjournment. Can I get someone to motion? Anybody? Cameron, can you get someone to second that? Sarah Harvey. All in favor? Any opposed?
Hi, if I'm not mistaken, there was supposed to be something brought forward by Nicholas Skill, but I could be wrong.
Sorry, nothing was brought forward. Any opposed?
You want me to speak on behalf of that?
Sorry, was there something said?
I think what Alexa's talking about or Emily's talking about is it was like a bit of a email that was sent to some of us faculty public affairs. And it was just about the CUSA elections and the CEO. And yeah.
There was nothing sent to us, sent to myself, nothing mentioned during information question period.
It was like about a potential conflict of interest.
Okay. I mean, since we are past, I'll take a vote on the council. If they would like to go back to items for information, we can rediscuss. All in favor? Thank you. You have majority vote. So, someone said they would like to bring up something.
Yeah, so if I may bring it up with the council tonight, or if Liam wants to do it, I have no problem with that either.
Go ahead, Nicholas. You had a good written thing.
Sorry?
You had it written. Go ahead.
All right, perfect. So an issue was brought up to me by a student at large, outlining a potential conflict of interest between the CEO, this year's CEO for CUSA elections, and the candidate for Vice President Finance of the slate of ranked students first. So the issue at hand is a conflict of interest between the two individuals, the two students, due to their role with the Sprout Business Student Society, as the candidate for Vice President Finance is the current president of the society, and the CEO of this year's electoral process of the CUSA elections is the vice president internal of the same association. It was brought to me by a student at large, and I said that I was gonna look into it along with the electoral code and see if there was in fact a potential conflict of interest, and obviously bring it up to council because it needs to be brought up to a vote in order to determine whether or not there was a conflict of interest. If there was a conflict of interest, then as per the electoral code, the CEO of this year's CUSA elections was to bring it up to the president of the association and to CUSA Council immediately. As far as I know, it hasn't been brought up. I don't know if I am missing some information, but that was the issue to be brought up. And if there is a conflict of interest, if it is established that there is in fact a conflict of interest, then it is to put into a vote whether a removal is necessary and whether there is a 2/3 majority for the removal of this year's CEO due to the conflict of interest as per the electoral code.
All right, thank you. So I didn't really hear a motion. I understand that students brought this forward, so thank you for presenting this to the council. We do have Alexa here tonight, but before we get to there, to our representatives of the FBA Council, what would you like to determine? Are you just bringing this forward to the council for them to decide, or are you presenting, or would you like to present the motion?
So I am presenting it before the council because I did look into it, and the majority of the Faculty of Public Affairs counselors think that there is a potential conflict of interest that must be looked into, or that there is in fact a conflict of interest present. So my motion for tonight would be for the removal of the CEO of this year's CEO of the CUSA in charge of the CUSA elections.
Okay, so we won't jump to the motion right away, as you need to vote to even present a motion at the moment since it is off the floor. But before we get into it, would you please like to represent maybe on behalf of the FBA counselors who were contacted on what grounds there seems to be a conflict of interest, and then we'll have Alexa speak as well.
That was the last song.
No, Alexa, no, sorry.
Yes, definitely. So I will express the concerns brought up in regards to the conflict of interest between this year's CEO and the candidate for Vice President Finance for the slate of ranked students first. So the obviously the question isn't whether, and Alexa, we've been told Alexa's here today, so the question isn't whether Alexa can be biased into any sort of dubious behavior during the elections by the candidate due to their role together with the Sprout Business Student Society, but the question is whether there is an avenue for it to happen. I consider that there is, given their perspective roles within the SBSS. Obviously, nobody's saying as of right now that they are going to cheat or that they can be influenced to do so. Nobody's saying that, but rather that the issue can rise given their close personal relationship along with their leadership roles together, and that would be a conflict of interest. Having established the potential conflict of interest as per the electoral code, she was to immediately notify the president and CUSA Council of the potential conflict of interest. So meaning that the conflict of interest didn't have to be established by council before the CEO brought it up to the council ourselves or the CUSA president. The issue in place wouldn't be just a potential conflict of interest then between the candidate running and the CEO, but also a violation of the electoral code that it was written, structured, and signed by the CEO for the aforementioned reasons. The concerns with the conflict of interest and the violations of the electoral code are simply legitimate issues that can rise up in order to undermine the principles of fairness, impartiality, and or democracy of the electoral office and the university's process, the university's electoral process altogether. So that is the issue at hand.
Thank you. Alexa, would you like to? Thank you. The floor is all yours, Alexa.
No,
Alexa. Yeah, so it's just, do I need to be granted speaking rights before anything?
So all in favor to grant Alexa speaking rights? All right, unanimous. Thank you. Alexa, the floor is yours.
All right, so yes, so this concern has been brought to my attention. I thank you for bringing it to the attention of council. As you mentioned, my role as a CEO, as stated in the electoral code, is to ensure that the elections officers, as well as myself, act with fairness and impartiality in compliance with this code. Yes, I work with Emily on the Sprott Business Student Society, and yes, I am aware of other candidates running in the election, and there's no denying that. But if the CEO was not allowed to have any previous connection with any candidate, you would never find an individual suitable for this role. It would be impossible. The overall, like the elections officers and myself have the duty to remain completely impartial throughout the elections. We don't submit a nomination ballot. We don't submit a voting ballot. And we have absolutely not had any conversations with any candidates or individuals, text message, social media interactions with any candidate that was not through any official means of communication on behalf of the elections teams since the day we signed our contract. And so with this concern, my integrity is being put in question in here, and I take that on a very personal level. Meanwhile, I have not done anything nor demonstrated any behavior that would suppose that I would do so. And so I've not given any reason throughout my conduct in this role that could suggest that, you know, my abilities to discharge the duties of the office have been or could be compromised. So that's what I have to say regarding this. Thank you for listening. Open to follow up if need be.
Thank you, Alexa. Did we have any questions? Emily, I see your hand is up. Do you have a question?
Yes, I do. It's like, I just have a quick question for Alexa really quick. Just the whole point of this is not, I just want to disclose, it's not questioning any integrity on a personal level. It was just brought to our attention by one of the students at large who we represent. So we felt obliged to bring it to the floor today. But it was just more so questioning the lack of disclosure, because as someone who is on CUSA Council, I was never informed of the conflict of interest that may have arose. And I totally understand that it might not have been known when you had taken the role because the nominations were not out at that point. But just out of curiosity, why was this not disclosed after the nominations had come out to CUSA Council and the CUSA executives, as we are the ones who are in control of electing the CEO? And due to section 3.8 of the electoral code, it does say that this should be disclosed. Again, it's not a question of integrity at all, because I personally totally trust you to be completely honest and upright with everything, and it's not a question of that. It was just more so, why was this not disclosed sooner rather than having it brought to the floor by a counselor, noticed by a student at large?
Yeah, completely valid question. And so my honest answer is, in my opinion, and to the discretion of the electoral office, electoral officers and myself, this was not a conflict of interest because we worked together on professional means. It was not something that I envisioned from day one affecting my abilities to properly and adequately conduct all the duties and responsibilities of the office. And it was not perceived as an issue that could arise throughout the election and my abilities in that regard.
Thank you.
All right, well, it seems there's no other questions. Council, you've heard both sides. I think we're going to take this to a vote to either present the motion or to dismiss the matter that's been brought up. Give me a couple of seconds. We'll set up a voting link and I'll post it in the chat.
There's a question in the chat of just, can someone bring the motion forward again? Like, just say it straight up so we can all kind of have that understanding of what's actually at play right now. So
there's actually no motion presented. In order to present a motion, you would have to vote since this is off the floor. So that's why there hasn't been any motion presented. They were just counselors did their duties by reporting what a student presented them. So if you do vote in favor, you would be allowing a motion to be presented. If you vote against, it means you are voting to dismiss.
Farouk, we can see your screen, just so you know.
Thank you. I must say, I don't know how Ryan does this so quick. This is much more complicated than I thought. Give me a sec, sorry. Sorry, please, no F-bombs in the chat. Thank you. Let's keep it appropriate. I do apologize. SurveyMonkey did not want to work for me, so I've done a Google form. Please feel free to vote. Again, just a reminder, only counselors and CASHG and RAW are allowed to vote. If you're a student at large, please do not vote. The link should be in the chat now.
Yo, Farouk, mine's not working.
It's not working for you?
Yeah, it's like frozen. Won't let me tap anything.
Do you mind trying again? Because we've already collected 25 responses.
All right. Yeah, it worked now.
All right. Seems everyone has voted in. Unfortunately, sorry, not unfortunately, but we will be, motion based off the results, we will be dismissing this. All right. All in favor to destroy the ballot? All right, any objections? All right. Any opposed? All right. All right, back to our regular business. Adjournment. Can I have someone to motion to adjourn? Sarah Harvey. Someone to second that? Pierce Birch. All right, all in favor? We're almost done. Keep voting. All in favor? All right. Any opposed? All right. Any abstains? Thank you. And that wraps up our CUSA Council for the month of January. Council, just to let you know that we do have a CUSA Inc. Rather very short, just one presentation, which will be happening as soon. We'll give a 5-minute recess and then we'll get started with it. So we'll reconvene at 7:32. See you all in 5 minutes.
I'd like to open the floor to talk about stocks while we're not having a meeting right now, if anybody's down. No? Okay, never mind.
Yo, no, I have a question, right? So
No,
like
it's-
I tried to get my stock friends to like let me know what was happening happening, but all y'all just kept saying words that were not really that comprehensible, and I was just like, wow, no habla still. So like, stocks 101. What is it? How do you get into it? What's up?
I still don't understand. Like
So y'all just throwing money for no reason.
you're acting like we're throwing.
No,
Yo,
it's not
think
no
about
for
it
no
this-
reason though.
Think
Yo,
about this. Look,
Tinu,
it's either
Tinu,
go to your
my
bank or you make money.
Go to my Instagram profile and look at my story. There was a whole like text message explaining the situation with like an analogy that was beautiful.
Greg said, "Be careful in GME this late. It will surge when the short closes tomorrow."
Yo, who saw GME drop? GME dropped and then went right back
I
up
saw
for a
it.
bit.
Yeah, I saw it drop. Yeah, I saw that
I know
spike.
there's a lot of people who are in pain. Just
I mean,
pain
I
over
know.
this.
Where's GME or Die Guy though? We need that guy in here.
Oh, was it Mustafa? Who said it?
It was Greg. It was Greg that said GME. Be careful in GME.
AMC to the
My
moon.
question is, how did they just go like from $2 to like, how much was it like top peak? What was it?
Billions
It was
of people bought
400.
Billions
It
of
was
dollars.
440, I think.
That's crazy.
Basically,
the peak.
December, GME has announced a partnership with Microsoft, and that partnership was literally saying we're going to use Microsoft technology in our computers, and then their software